Well, everyone, we are back to the good old drip feed, the stuff we all love. Today, though, we have probably one of the best drip feeds. This is the brand new COMET. Look at this beauty. This thing might be one of the best cars, at least compared to the original car, like the IRL car Rockstar's ever added. I mean, this thing almost looks identical to the real life counterpart. I don't know how Rockstar got away with it. This thing just looks incredible. But in this video, I'm going to be answering the question, is it worth it? Because it does cost about $2 million. It's a lot of money, and it may look good, but does everything else hold up? Does everything else make it worth it? So if you want to know the answer to that, then stick around. Now, the brand new COMET S2. So it's found on the Legendary Motorsports website, and you can see we have two different prices. We have the regular price, the 1.9 mil price, and then we also have the trade price at 1.4 mil. Now, I believe if you want to get that trade price, you're going to have your reputation level at about, I think it's 45 or level 50. Because if you were unaware, each 5 levels of reputation in the car meet area unlocks a new trade price, and it's completely random, but you probably have to go through all of the cars that came out with the DLC before you get to the COMET S2, so thus getting to like level 45 or level 50. Now, if you're not grinding constantly, you're probably not up there. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to buy this for 1.9 million. That's a lot. So we're just gonna hop into the customization first, because there is some weird quirks with this, and in typical Rockstar fashion, you just can't make this stuff up. Probably the best looking liveries, guess what, are not found on this vehicle. They're gonna be drip fed. When? Who knows? I'm gonna just quickly go through this. Like, I'm gonna speed this up. You guys, if you want, maybe watch the video in like half speed or something if you really care about the customization. It does have some great customization. There's a lot of options, but there are a couple of quirks, like I said. Number one, the livery, which we'll get to in a second. I'll show you guys what the liveries that are hidden actually look like when we go into single player. The second thing, though, the engine. This is one of the cars you can't actually change the engine on. I mean, you can, of course, upgrade it, but you can't customize the looks like every other vehicle. So Rockstar kind of got lazy in that front. So if you were maybe wanting to customize your engine to make it look different, you can't. Also, the stock rims, you can't paint them like by default. Although I found a workaround, I believe in the track or in the street race section, there are a pair of rims that look basically identical. So if you were wondering if you're trying to get the stock rims but painted, look in the, not the new set of rims, but the one that came like in the last update, and you'll find them in there. Also, and you'll see this as we go through this, the window tint does actually tint the headlights. So that could be either a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, I kind of like it. It looks kind of cool because you can, of course, make them black and make it go with the black liveries. But if you don't like that, well, then you can't tint the windows. Otherwise, your headlights are going to be tinted and it's going to look weird. Again, just weird stuff. It does have an active spoiler by default, so that is kind of cool. And you'll see that throughout this video when we do drive it around. It goes up, it goes down. That is, of course, cool. Like I said, bunch of different customization options, as you're probably seeing. You have some off-road options as well if you want to go that route and make your car look like that. Overall, customization is good, but again, you do have those slight quirks that just make it slightly weird to deal with. Also, there's no pifster on the steering wheel if you're one that likes driving in first person, which is kind of annoying because the other pifster car that's coming out probably in a couple of weeks, the Growler, it does actually have a pifster logo on the steering wheel. That's a very minor thing, but I just thought I'd mention it. Now, those liveries, as you're seeing, there's only, or as you maybe saw, there's only 11 liveries, and they're honestly not that good. Like, some of them are okay, like the red one's not terrible. Of course, the simple black striped ones definitely look good. But like the actual racing style liveries, I don't personally like them. But if we head into single player here, after the Stronzo livery, these next 5, these are the ones that are hidden, and they're gonna be drip fed, and we don't know when because Rockstar don't tell us these things, but these I think are actually some of the better ones for this vehicle. You have the Air Hurler, which is this red one, looks kind of cool. Ron Racing, which I do actually believe some people might own. It was mentioned in the Newswire last week. You had to do something to unlock it, so maybe some people have it. You have the Shark Attack one, which is an okay one. But then you have probably the best one, the Rock and Roll Legends. This is probably the coolest one. It has Love Fist on the back on certain spoilers, I believe, and you can't find it. And then you have this weird Republican Space Rangers one. So, yeah, like you have these 5 liveries, but they're not in the game. So I couldn't tell you why that is. But I guess we just have to wait for more drip feed, now Rockstar drip feeding liveries, and cool liveries at that. So I guess overall for customization, again, it looks great. Like the car stock looks great. The customization is plentiful. You can make some unique cars, but I guess are those little quirks gonna be a factor for you in buying this vehicle? That's gonna be for you to decide. Now, before we actually go into single player to see some of these speed tests, one thing you can do on this car, I mean, I think you can do on every car, but you can actually stance it. And stancing this car makes it fly. Of course, you definitely lose some traction, you lose some handling, but stancing on this car, if you want to go fast, then make sure your car is lowered. That's something I didn't realize. I was like, oh my God, my car's flying, but I can't control it. And it was because my car was stanced. When you don't stance it, it's a lot slower. So that's something that you're just gonna have to deal with if you do want the handling. Like all the other cars, of course, you can put drip or the low grip tires on. Although as we head into the test track and drive with them, I would almost say skip that on this vehicle because they're very, very hard to control. I mean, maybe if you're a crazy person and you want to figure it out, you can for sure do it, but it is definitely hard to control with the low grip tires. You spin out very quickly. So that is something probably just want to stay clear of on this particular vehicle. But again, I guess that decision is up to you. Now, the performance. This is where things get quite disappointing. Now, in a straight line, we have 3 cars here. We actually have at the top left, that is the Jester RR, car we already own. The top right is the unreleased Pifster, the Growler. So that's coming in a couple of weeks. And then on the bottom, we have the Comet S2, the one that just released. And as you'll see, the one at the bottom actually does finish this first because I believe the top speed is like slightly higher than the other 3 or the other 2. I think we got to about maybe 130 with the car fully upgraded. But these are all sort of neck and neck. And even though the one at the bottom finished like maybe a half a second sooner, the other 2 are definitely no slouch. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the Jester RR may actually be slightly better because it does, at least to me, seem like it has better handling. So in that test, I just wanted to compare it to a car we already have, and then the other Comet coming out, because I'm sure many people are going to be wondering, well, do I buy the Comet S2 or do I wait for the other one, the Growler, coming out in a couple of weeks? Honestly, from this test, it's hard to say. Maybe just save money until you get both of them, because both of them look phenomenal. Now, this next test is actually something I wanted to see. These are all of the same car. This is all the S2. The bottom is standard, regular, fully upgraded. The top right is simply lowered with regular tires. And then the top left is actually lowered with the drip feed or with the low grip tires. The top 2 absolutely smoke the one on the bottom because the lowered stance just makes the car fly. I mean, you can see the speeds. We got up to 160, I believe, at some point. And surprisingly, the top right is actually the one that comes in first because when you have those low grip tires on the top left, you lose control. You can't get traction. So you do end up losing speed. So you can see just how fast lowering the car with regular tires is. I mean, we're still going on the standard at the bottom. So if you do want just complete speed, definitely lowering your car is the move. Now, when we get into the bumpiness test, that's where, again, little unfortunate things happen. So this car, it has that suspension issue where it sort of bounces because you are going too fast. Of course, that leads to the increased speed with the game's physics, but you do end up losing control quite often. It's definitely not as bad, though, as like the Itali GTO or some of the other vehicles, but you do bounce quite a bit. And, of course, when your car's in the air, you're going to not maintain control. A couple of other things regarding the performance. Honestly, I felt like the handling was slightly bad. Now, I guess this is maybe my opinion, Maybe you got a better test drive of it last week when it was in the car meet. But the handling on this car just didn't feel great. The braking, I felt like, was non-existent. Braking was terrible. The drift aspect, like sliding around corners, was good, I will say. I very rarely spun out, but the problem was that the acceleration is just almost too slow. I felt like I was losing speed quite often. You'll see that a lot of the times when we go around these corners. I try and drift, and I maintain control, but I just don't have this speed. I just feel like I'm going very slow. So I feel like in races and stuff, maybe that's going to be a downside, especially in some of the street races where you are constantly turning. You're just going to not feel like you're going fast. Now, if you are doing a race where you are going in a straight line for a lot of it, maybe this is a good car, because it does have that high top speed compared to some of the other sports cars. But when you do turn, you're going to lose a lot of that speed. Very unfortunate. Maybe this might be one of those cars Rockstar stated they're going to upgrade when the expanded and enhanced comes out to make it go faster. That would be nice. Maybe that would alleviate some of these issues. But of course, that's not coming for a couple of months, if it even were a thing. So I guess ultimately coming down to the question, is this car worth the 1.9 mil? Honestly, for me, it's hard to say, because of course it looks phenomenal. Like, it's probably one of the best looking cars Rockstar has added. And it's really such a shame that the performance doesn't live up to those expectations you have when you look at this vehicle. Also, combined with the fact that you are missing the liveries and there are some of those really weird customization quirks, it's like, really, why couldn't we just have like just this great car? Why do you always have to mess something up? Like, why can't we just have the perfect car for once? It's like we can never have it all, I guess, when it comes to Rockstar. That's just so unfortunate, because this would have been a perfect car to do that with. I mean, the Comet is obviously a staple. It's a classic of GTA. And then having an upgraded Comet in this one here, the S2, would have been phenomenal. Honestly, if I were to say yes or no, I mean, if you can get it for that trade price, it's probably a decent deal. For 2 mil, though, maybe you might want to wait till it goes on sale. Or maybe even wait till that Growler comes out, because maybe the Growler, the other Pifster, might be better. I think for the majority of people, if you do care a lot about performance and the driving feel, you might not end up using this car in free roam, just because it is kind of awkward. It doesn't feel the best. There are a lot of other cars out there that feel better. This might be a car you end up buying because it looks great, and then you just leave it in your garage. And is that worth 2 mil? That's going to be up to you to decide. As for racing, I still think like the Calico is better. The Pariah is probably still better. The Italia GTO is probably better. Like I said, even some of those tighter like races where you're driving around corners, I'd probably maybe even go with the Jester RR, because I really like the way that handles. So yeah, while this vehicle does look great, I think it just lacks in some of the other areas, and it's unfortunate at the end of the day. But of course, this is all just my opinion. I'm just trying to let you guys know all of the things before you decide to purchase it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you like this vehicle? I mean, of course, I think everyone should love the looks of it. But do you like the performance? Are you going to purchase it for that $2 million price tag if you don't have it with the trade price? Or are you just going to wait until it goes on sale? Or maybe even wait until the liveries get unlocked, because I'm sure maybe some people want to use a certain livery that's locked and then they can't. But just let me know your thoughts in the comment section. That is going to do it for this video. Actually, that's not going to do it. Let's quickly go over the Newswire. So quickly, just running through the Newswire, there were a couple of things I thought you guys should know if you aren't like super up to date on the whole GTA stuff. So of course, the Comet S2 is released. This is where they mentioned the Ron racing livery. You get it for free if you became a LS member last week. So if you just paid the $50,000, then you're gonna get that Ron racing livery for free. Also, double money on the sprint mode, which of course is kind of fun. The podium vehicle this week in the car meet is the Warner HKR, so you can get that for free. If you, I believe it's complete, you have to win 5 sprint races between now and August 4th, so a week from now. The test drive vehicles are these 3, and the one that is unreleased is actually the Vapid Dominator ASP, so it's the Mustang. So it does look like that's going to be the next car coming out next week. And then they do mention a bunch of different rewards by logging in. If you visit the LS car meet, you'll be gifted basically these shirts, it sounds like. There's a bunch of other stuff. I'll leave a link to the Newswire if you want to take a look. If you care for these little free items, you can do some daily vehicle stuff and get it. I guess there's some more free stuff for just playing the game. The Z-Type's on the podium in the casino. And as for discounts, nothing crazy. Nothing new, really. And then, of course, you get the free stuff for being a Twitch Prime member. So, no, anyway, that's going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop the video a like if you enjoy. Subscribe for more GTA content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.